As a result of technological advancement, consumers have changed from passive consumers to being more charismatic and demanding about the items they use. In other words, customers nowadays want to feel that the products they are using reflect on them, and quality needs to be up to mark. This justification provides the most straightforward explanation for why Sony has lost market share despite producing some of the highest quality electronics. Sony needed help to adapt its strategy to new client needs, most notably the importance of the customer experience. Competitors like Apple's iPhone seized the opportunity presented by new technology to provide customers with experience-focused gadgets that frequently spark market fervour each time a new model is released. Sony missed this chance. This video will unveil many hidden factors that caused Sony to lose its influence in the market. Welcome to the Incredible channel, where we learn something new every day. Make sure to drop this video a like and subscribe to the channel. Without further delay, let's dive right in. Sony is one of the world's most renowned electronic companies. The corporation was founded in Japan and has evolved from its small beginnings into a global powerhouse. From the tape player to the Walkman to modernized OLED TV, Sony's tradition of launching the latest electric gadgets has made it a profitable company for more than 60 years. When Sony was about to launch its international branches, it looked for a new name because the initials TTK were taken. The Latin term sonus, for sound, and the English word Sony were combined to create the company's name. For trademark purposes, the corporation sought a comment that did not exist in any other language. Sony established its US division in 1960. Sony established a branch in the UK 8 years later. After expanding into Spain and France in 1973, the business kept growing throughout the 1970s. In 1986, operations in Germany began. Initially introduced in 1979, the Walkman was arguably Sony's most important device. The compact, portable tape player transformed music listening into a private, individual activity rather than a social activity. Following that first success, Sony introduced its first portable CD player, the Discman, in 1984. Although the Walkman's influence may be seen in current mobile devices, the company's dominance waned as tapes and CDs were replaced by digital music. Rivals in the late 1980s, Nintendo and Sega revived the game console sector in the wake of a dramatic failure of early pioneers like Atari. Sony created a new business called Sony Computer Entertainment in 1993 to take advantage of this market niche after realizing the potential for a new competitor with substantial resources and superior technological know-how. The corporation has found consistent financial success with its PlayStation range of gaming systems and portable versions of those platforms. Any company's long-term viability depends on its internal environment. The management style, choices, and strategic plan are some elements that affect the internal corporate environment. Over the years, Sony's deterioration has been influenced by several internal issues. The two leading causes of the company's decline, lost opportunities and poor management, as well as Sony's organizational culture, will be covered in this section. Sony became a leader in the electronics industry by releasing breakthrough technologies before other producers. From cameras to smartphones, Sony produces a broad spectrum of devices. Sony is still making highly coveted items of the highest caliber. The company's most famous creation, the Walkman, may still exist today. Although Sony was able to use cutting-edge technologies to produce high-quality goods, its presence in the electronics sector has been steadily declining. People are less enthusiastic about using the company's products compared to the previous 2 or 3 decades. Many experts have explained why consumers are turning away from Sony products. Most often, it's connected to a lousy company plan. The inability of Sony to transition from a production-centered culture to a customer-centered culture was one of the company's worst mistakes. As a result, it missed out on chances since customers were only interested in businesses that offered products that could meet their needs. As a result of technological advancement, consumers have changed from passive consumers to being more charismatic and demanding concerning the items they use. In other words, buyers today want to feel that the things they use, regardless of quality, reflect on them. This justification provides the most straightforward explanation for why Sony has lost market share despite producing some of the highest quality electronics. Sony could not adapt its strategy to new client needs, most notably the importance of the customer experience. Competitors like Apple's iPhone seized the opportunity presented by new technology to provide customers with experience-focused gadgets that frequently spark market fervour each time a new model is released. Sony missed this chance. On the other hand, it emphasised hardware, which, regrettably, provided less versatility than software. Manufacturers may control technology to produce powerful, customer-focused products by concentrating on software. According to Zhu and Muniyoshi, being a hot seller enables a business to stay in the public eye and is crucial for its long-term survival. Maintaining customers' attention over the long term depends on launching a successful product every few years. Sony has a reputation for sometimes launching popular products throughout 6 decades. The PlayStation debuted in 1995 and has been named the company's most impressive creation to date. Sony effectively lost its position as the top electronics producer by becoming less inventive and allowing aggressive competitors to seize market share. According to Zhu and Muniyoshi, Sony's inability to adapt to shifting consumer patterns has prevented them from turning its cutting-edge technology into revenues. Many academics have used the Walkman instance to demonstrate how the company's strategy resulted in missing opportunities to strengthen its market position. No competitor on the market could have competed with the technology when Sony introduced the cassette recorder in 1996. The Walkman, a portable upgrade to the cassette recorder, was created by the business in 1971. Sony worked to change the Walkman over the years, up to 1999, to meet consumer needs for pricing and usability. The company, however, was too preoccupied with the product model to pay attention to customers' subtle preferences. According to Naganathan, a lack of innovation is one of the main reasons for Sony's collapse. The circumstances damaged the company's reputation, which had been developed over the years on innovation. Sony has also struggled to successfully participate in the process of ongoing improvement. A company can become more competitive in the market by strengthening its core strengths through continuous development. On the other hand, Sony over-diversified, which prohibited the corporation from focusing on its core competencies. Sony has been able to unestablish a strong position in the market due to its involvement in many industries, including electronics, online music stores, games, movies, and financial services. Mismanagement was a significant factor in the company's demise, and flawed strategies caused it to lose out on chances. Zhu and Muniyoshi note that bad choices have eroded the business' competitive advantage. For instance, Microsoft's Xbox 360 achieved unmatched global success due to Sony's failure to follow up on the PlayStation 2 and PlayStation 3. When Microsoft introduced the Xbox 360, Sony controlled 70% of the game console industry. The shift from PS2 to PS3's cost structure was a mismanaged expense. Additionally, the PS3 platform was more challenging to operate than the PS2, which made it easier for Xbox to win over many of Sony's fans. An organisation's culture impacts whether or not it achieves its strategic goals. The management style adopted by the company is just one aspect of the organisation's culture. A weak organisational culture can contribute to corporate failures, like a lack of organisational strategy. Japanese culture is reflected in Sony's organisational culture. Japanese culture values creativity. This finding explains why Sony has consistently worked to use cutting-edge tactics during the company's existence. Customer service and employee satisfaction are two further facets of Japanese culture. However, Sony's organisational culture has yet to help the business strategically position itself in the world market. The company has suffered because of the rigidity of its culture. The silo mentality was a reason behind Sony's collapse. A silo mindset is a way of thinking that prevents departments within a company from interacting with one another. The informational flow is compromised. Decision-making is facilitated by effective communication inside an organisation, since it ensures that no objectives are in conflict. In contrast, Sony's divisions lacked touch with one another, which hurt the company's competitiveness. Before 2005, according to Strategic Direction, Sony's culture was marked by every man for himself approach, where each division fiercely defended its own interest. Due to these splits, Sony's market share was stolen by competitors, which led to discrepancies inside the business. For instance, iPod overtook Walkman as the market leader, while Microsoft's Xbox supplanted Sony's PlayStation 3. The corporate culture of Sony is resistant to change. This mindset plays a significant role in the business's sluggish embrace of the growing importance of software. Sony was tempted to disregard software because of how well it had done with hardware. The company's top management, which consists primarily of hardware engineers, attests to this allegation. Cole contends that Sony forfeited the optimization function that software would have provided in boosting product quality and adaptability by prioritizing hardware over software. Sony's top management comprises hardware engineers. The use of software advancements may be problematic in this situation. Compared to the US, Japan has a shortage of information technology professionals. According to Cole, senior hardware engineers are likelier to appoint other hardware engineers to fill junior roles. The result is that the company has a deficiency of software innovators. As a result, the organisation needs more software inventors. Furthermore, hardware engineers are likely to disregard the value of software innovation within the organisation. Consequently, the business must restructure its management to place software developers in its highest positions. Sony's future lies with the PlayStation 5. The company has undergone reorganisation in the previous 4 years to regain its market dominance. Restructuring the PlayStation as part of diversifying the shaky smartphone market, PlayStation 5 has seen strong growth, which is encouraging for the business. The company's CEO, Kaz Hirai, thinks that PlayStation's resurgent popularity will cover for flaws in other departments. Recent measures include making PlayStation into a launchpad for other widgets and services. This strategy will improve PlayStation's usability by enabling other developers to make PlayStation-compatible items. As a result, Sony is succeeding where Microsoft's Xbox One has failed, especially by putting a strong emphasis on games. Sony is gradually increasing its efforts to boost software innovation in the business. The transition from hardware to software is a reflection of the contemporary technological landscape in Japan. Companies are aware that software is at the heart of modern innovation. For instance, Sony's most recent PlayStation models are built to support developer software. Analysts have also noted that Sony's restructuring has saved the business from a potential financial catastrophe. It is acceptable for most of its businesses to say that the company is gradually reclaiming its market share. Let's look at some other companies that have fallen from grace. Raise your hand if you've ever complained about Uber's poor customer service or other technical concerns. Publicly condemning businesses can occasionally work to our advantage. I've had numerous conversations with Uber Complaint Cell, but it can fall into a chasm of grievances and hate. Let's have a quick look at how the company manipulates its customers. With 47.88% critical comments, ride-sharing business Uber is at the top of the list in the UK. Customers have been complaining about long wait times since the pandemic, as drivers have left the company searching for other employment opportunities. The company has also raised pricing in London by 10%. Due to a shortage of available rides when you need them, Uber is receiving a thumbs down in 8 states in the United States, which is not helping its own cause. Drivers worldwide have long complained about how the American corporation has treated them, and customers frequently express dissatisfaction with the company's pricing, service level, and safety level. Tesla is another organisation that makes people crazy. With 7 countries riding the hatred wave, it makes sense that the electric vehicle maker and its CEO Elon Musk are the second most disliked brand in the world, according to our analysis. Twitter has received complaints from Singapore, Poland, Taiwan, Serbia, and Croatia. Why is it struggling so much? Customers have complained that the autopilot have resulted in tragic accidents, that cars catch fire, and that service centres have long wait periods. Additionally, it has been claimed that the business has concerns with employee safety, and Elon Musk frequently incites controversy on Twitter. Sony's capacity to sustainably manage its multiple businesses will determine its destiny. According to rumours, Sony is currently being disassembled for sale. If this objective is accomplished, then every division will function independently of one another. Sony has been concentrating on the smartphone industry. Sony has recorded a modest profit margin from producing and selling smartphones, despite the fierce competition from major competitors like Samsung and Apple. Finally, the business must allocate appropriate resources to research to develop new products and technology. The user interface, which Sony needs to adequately address, should be the centre of attention. Make sure to let us know your thoughts down below. Subscribe to the channel as a sacrifice to the gods of the algorithm. Thanks for watching.